Like everyone living in and around Cambridge, we are absolutely behind the development of the high-quality transport infrastructure so badly needed by our city and the surrounding area. That infrastructure has to include a transport link from Cambourne and the new developments west of Cambridge to various key destinations in the city. The Cambourne to Cambridge Busway scheme was first proposed by the City Deal in 2014. Initially, a number of different routes were suggested, but the one finally selected by the Greater Cambridge Partnership, the GCP, is the only one that includes significant sections of off-road construction.
The proposed route starts out from Cambourne and runs off-road from Bourne to Scotland Road, parallel to the A428. It rejoins the road to get to a new park and ride at Scotland Farm, then runs on the A1303 through the village of Hardwick. Just before the Madingley Mulch roundabout, it leaves the road, cutting across fields and hedges and right through Coton Orchard. There will then be a new bridge to take the busway over the M11 to the university's West Cambridge site, across the West Fields and eventually to Grange Road, where it joins the city's road network. This C2C off-road busway is promoted by the GCP as a quick and easy, reliable and sustainable scheme.
It sounds great, but is it really quick and easy? From the GCP's own data, we can see that the off-road route might shave only a minute or two off journey times, and that doesn't take into account the fact that onward journeys from Grange Road are likely to be slow. There is also a significant risk that it may not be reliable. With bus companies already cancelling services on existing routes, there is no guarantee that they will be able to provide the full timetable promised for C2C. And although it is portrayed as a green and sustainable solution, the off-road busway will be extremely detrimental to the environment in a number of ways. It will remove swathes of greenbelt. It will irreversibly damage the relatively unspoiled landscape and views around Madingley Hill. It will cut across green corridors, which we know are critical for the survival of species. It will all but destroy Coton Orchard. We now know that traditional orchards are hotspots for biodiversity, which is why they are designated priority habitats. The one at Coton is the largest remaining traditional orchard in the county and a county wildlife site. Its loss would be a tragedy, not only because of the numbers of veteran trees that would be felled, but because of the value of the site as a whole. It is home to 8 different types of bats and several nationally rare species. Despite what the GCP have claimed, it is simply not possible to mitigate for the loss of this unique habitat. Environmental experts say that replicating these conditions will take well over 50 years, time which we simply don't have. It is widely claimed that the off-road busway will make a significant contribution to moving Cambridgeshire towards decarbonisation and net zero. But the construction of the proposed route, with its off-road sections, a new bridge over the M11 and a new park and ride site, will result in massive carbon emissions. The detail behind the GCP's calculations has not been provided, and they take no account of the significant amount of carbon released by soil excavation. So, it is very hard to see how the GCP's scheme can be quick and easy, reliable, sustainable. It's also hard to see how it stacks up economically. Because of the scale of construction and rampant inflation, costs are now estimated at £220 million, with a cost-benefit ratio of a less than acceptable 0.43.
And yet, there is a viable on-road alternative. A fully worked out scheme proposed by Cambridge past, present and future can provide similar journey times for a fraction of the financial and environmental cost. Providing traffic measures along the A1303 would enable buses and other traffic to run freely into Cambridge, as well as providing more direct onward journeys to the biomedical campus and other key destinations via the M11 and A14. Carbon emissions from construction would be minimal compared with the off-road route, so the increased use of public transport would result in a much greater shift towards decarbonisation. The GCP have never given a reasoned explanation of why they have rejected the on-road route without proper appraisal. They have persisted with the off-road scheme, despite the fact that it was actually opposed by the majority of the public in every one of their consultations, as well as by the local liaison forum. And those objections are not only from local residents.
One of the reasons that the GCP first came up with its ideas of an off-road busway was to protect the American cemetery on the hill and to protect Madingley Wood. But we've worked with the cemetery and we've looked at the route, and our bus lane doesn't damage the wood at all. And in fact, the American cemetery, they support our ideas.
In 1945, U.S. Army Major General Lee requested that Madingley Hill become the site of a permanent commemorative cemetery and memorial to honor fallen U.S. service personnel of the Second World War, specifically because of its natural beauty and unparalleled viewshed. The U.S. government asked for this specific terrain. No other terrain in East Anglia would do. We are concerned that GCP's proposal to build a tarmac bus route across the south side of the hill would irreparably damage this unique and precious landscape, compromising the setting of the American Military Cemetery, severing historic community access routes, and paving the way for further urban encroachment in its vicinity. And so my questions to the board include: 1, will the GCP consider rejecting a scheme that is so manifestly damaging to such a sensitive and internationally recognized landscape? My second question is, will the GCP consider properly and impartially assessing the well-characterized alternatives for improving bus journeys between Cambourne and Cambridge using existing infrastructure? And by that, I specifically mean the A428 to the Girton interchange. I am representing both myself as the superintendent of the American Cemetery, but also the Madingley Parish Council, the Coton Parish Council, and the Cambridge past, present, and future.
Here we have an orchard, hundreds of trees providing nectar through the flowers that blossom early in the season, fruit at the end of the season. They're old, established trees. The reason for proposing to fell the trees is to put through a bus route, which is public transport, and we all want better public transport. But I have to say that, you can put a bus route anywhere you like within reason, but you can't mitigate for cutting down hundreds of trees like this.
Hello, it's Yola Williams here with a message for Cambridgeshire County Council, and the message is clear: leave Coton Orchard alone. It's a fantastic site. These ancient orchards are packed full of all kinds of wildlife, and this one is really special.
Hello, I'm Brian Eversham from the Wildlife Trust. My first visit to Coton Orchard. I've never seen so many veteran fruit trees in one place. It's an absolutely fabulous site. My interests include mosses and lichens and insects. This place has such enormous riches here. I can't think of anywhere else quite like it.
It's springtime in Coton, and I'm standing between 2 of the 14 hedgerows that might be destroyed by this off-road busway. 14 hedgerows, 500 fruit trees, hundreds of other trees that are at risk if we don't do the right thing, which is to put the busway along Madingley Road and get the people from Bourne to Cambridge and protect this very special part of South Cambridgeshire.
The green belt is extremely important. The open green spaces of Cambridge need protection. Cambridge, past, present and future, is doing its best to look after those things. Do help it, do join it.
Last year, Cambridgeshire County Council voted to approve the C2C scheme. But since then, we've had confirmation that the East-West rail line will be going ahead. This will provide much faster journeys from Cambourne and west of Cambridge to the Biomedical Campus, Cambridge South Station and the Science and Business Parks, and make the colossal investment in C2C unnecessary and the busway itself redundant. And with every passing year, clear evidence of the deepening environmental crisis has made any unnecessary destruction of green spaces unconscionable.
We fully support the development of sustainable, high-quality transport infrastructure in and around our city. But we believe that this disproportionately expensive and environmentally devastating scheme cannot provide a good solution. And we call upon our elected representatives to demand that the GCP start looking constructively at the viable on-road alternative.